heedfulness is the path to deathlessness. Heedlessness is the path to death. Those who are heedful do not die, and those who are heedless are like those who are already dead. So welcome to Dhamma Hadaya. And today as well we thought of meeting you with a couple of resource personnel, and we thought of having a really important discussion, a really important Dhamma discussion, which is going to be very, very useful and which is definitely going to light up your hearts. So let me first introduce our resource personnel. First of all, I would like to introduce Dr. Shiroma Bandara, all the way from UK. She used to be a dentist. Now she is a meditator and a teacher of meditation. Ma'am, we warmly welcome you. And then we have none other than Professor Ravi Koggalage. He is the former Deputy Chancellor Academic of Sir John Kothalavala Defence University. He too is a meditator and a teacher of meditation. So we warmly welcome you as well to this discussion. And we thought, since we have two teachers of meditation today, we thought we would go very deep into the Dhamma, and thought of having a timely discussion about something you question very often, that is the Pañcakkhandhā and the Pancha Upadānakkhandhā. So to initiate this discussion, I would gladly invite Dr. Shiroma Bandara. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, yes, as you said, Sevandi, it's a very important subject because even in many sutras, like Silavanta Sutra comes to my mind, if our path is to lead towards of suffering, and if we look at it in another way of eradicating defilements and reaching certain stages of enlightenment, in Silavanta Sutra, Buddha teaches us that knowing and understanding the Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta of the five aggregates is the first step towards reaching that stages of enlightenment. And he says the one who actually practices and sees the Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta of the five aggregates again goes to the higher level, to Sowan Maggaphala, and then the one who has achieved Sowan Maggaphala to achieve the Sakradagami Maggaphala, and those who have achieved that Maggaphala to go to the Anagami Maggaphala, and so on and so forth to the Arahat Maggaphala. They have to, the practice has to involve seeing through Pañcakkhandhā and seeing the Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta of the Rupa, Vedana, Saññā, Saṅkhāra and Viññāna. So in that sense we can see how important this understanding these skandhas are. So it's a good topic to discuss.
Yes, Professor Ravi?
Yes, this very important topic, as Shiroma mentioned, it's this Pancha Upadānakkhandhā mentioned in many such sutras. Especially in Samyutta Nikāya, there's a separate vagga called Khandha Samyutta, talking about so many suttas, this Pancha Upadānakkhandhā. And also as very correctly she has mentioned, there are many suttas. Buddha has asking someone to reflect on Anicca nature, Dukkha nature and Anatta nature of those five things.
If we just quickly explain the meaning of Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta to our viewers.
Well,
just a brief,
commonly known meaning of Anicca is the changing. But there are deeper explanations given in few other suttas, like Anicca Saññā Sutta, one place where Buddha explained what is Anicca Saññā. I'll come to that if necessary. So commonly understanding, it's the changing. For example, Rupa, when we consider first of Pancha Upadānakkhandhā or Pañcakkhandhā Rupa. So one has to see, cultivate this Anicca Saññā of Rupa. Or if you take Vedana, the feelings.
You mean
again,
understanding the changing nature of Rupa or matter?
Well, first worldly level, it's change in nature.
Okay.
But if you talk in supramundane level, it's a little bit different. Because you have to contemplate on three things. What is Rupa Samudaya, and what is Rupa eradication or Attangama. Right?
Okay.
That is what.
What is matter? What is the cause of matter?
Of matter, and the cessation or not arising. So one who sees these three qualities, the Anicca Sanya is there. It is not simply changing. That's I mentioned there a deeper meaning as well. Then similarly Dukkha, of course, Buddha has referred the Sankittena Pañcakkhandhā Dukkha. If these five things are there, five Upadānakkhandhas, that is Rupa, Vedana, Saññā, Saṅkhāra, Viññāna, they are simply, that's the Dukkha. Right? Sankittena Pañcakkhandhā Dukkha. Then the Anatta nature also, initially I'll go into worldly level explanations. One is we do not have any control of that.
Okay.
Right? It's a simple meaning, but deeper levels we can go into different levels here.
Yes, Dr. Shiroma, would you like to explain the Pañcakkhandhā?
Yes.
Because we mentioned the Pañcakkhandhā, but if we quickly go through it in English terms, so that for the viewers who are first time with us listening to the Pañcakkhandhā.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The Pañcakkhandhā, Skandha is, as I understand, is like collections, Khandha.
Aggregates.
Yes, aggregates. Just like Khandha, Pañcakkhandhā means like five collections of things. And these collections, I look at them as they arise and pass, as if they are constantly arising and passing phenomena. So now in that context, look at Rupa. First one is Rupa, then there is Vedana, then there is Saññā, Saṅkhāra, Viññāna. Rupa is material, and Vedana is feeling, and Saññā is perceptions, and Saṅkhāra is mental formations, and consciousness is Viññāna. So if we come back to Rupa, Rupa again, Buddha has explained for us to look at Rupa as external and internal. Bahijatva and Jatva. Internal is our body itself, and external is all other matter outside, out there. So this is again looking at it as Ravi said here in mundane level. There is the Rupa is material, and it is known as material because with the touch there is that solidity. With touch it arises, it manifests, and it's a manifestation due to causes as a material side of it. And then because of that there is the process happening, this external material, internal material arising together when the mind element arises at the eye level or the ear level, the tongue, nose, the whole body. There arises the feeling due to the contact. So then the second skandha arises, called the feeling. So that feeling, again we know generally there is a dukkha feeling, sukha feeling, and the adukkama sukha, the neutral feeling. So again, due to the contact of those three, the external material, the internal material, and the mind element, that if we say the object outside, if we take the eye as the internal material and the mind element there, because of the feeling arises, suddenly, these things happen every thought moment, we recognize. So the perception of it, we perceive, and that's just a mere thought moment, and sankhara forms. And with the cetana, we look at that perception, and we want to think about it, something, or talk about it. So the mental formations arise. And these are like thought movement, very fast, Chaitasika that arise and pass. And this is all in the field of the consciousness, because of the mind arose there, these aggregates arise. And I remember a little upama, the example that comes to my mind now. It's like if you throw a stone into a still lake, and all the ripples go because of contact of the stone to the surface of the water. The ripples go, it's spontaneous and simultaneously they go. But because of some causes, because the stone hit the water surface. So these 5 collections, the 5 skandhas arise. Another bhikkhuni once explained this to me. Another example is if you have an umbrella, and if you open the umbrella, simultaneously all the spokes of the umbrella open up. Because you click, there is some contact there, and all 5 arise. So that's a good way of looking at all the skandhas arising, even though because of or due to causes, it's simultaneous, momentary moment arising of the skandhas, and they arise and pass naturally, harmlessly, spontaneously. Due to causes, they arise and pass. So the clinging part comes when we cling to each of these aggregates. The 5 clinging aggregates occur. So that happens. That is a different process altogether.
Yes, sir, would you like to add something to that explanation?
Yes, I think Shiroma brought up a very important point that these 5 things, they arise together and pass away together. There's no time.
You mean they cannot arise separately, like the umbrella?
Yes, yes, exactly. That is very important point, because they arise with the thought itself. So mainly those are Chaitasikas, apart from Rupa, the other 4. They arise with the Chitta, or the Vijnana, right? So they cannot simply exist before the mind or the thought, or after the thought. They appear together with the thought, and it's a very short time, like Chittakshana. So during that time, all appears and simply pass away. But for explanation, we break them up into this is first and this is second, and so on. That is only for the explanation purpose. But this is a very important point. They arise together, all Pancha Upadana-khandha, and they passed away or ceased together.
Okay, so it takes a mind like the Buddha to analyze something which happens in a fraction of a second and something altogether.
Yes.
So it takes the Sarvajñata yes, to analyze that.
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Shiroma, you were talking about the clinging nature.
Yes. That is where all these suffering and the problems and everything starts. And that, as I understand, happens at that contact level. Because fear just arising and passing in outside world, innocently arise and pass. And now in one place Buddha said, Rupang pajanati, Chakkung pajanati, and Chakku Vijnanam pajanati.
Which
so
means?
We understanding each one component separately, you understand the process that happens there. And they all arise together at the contact level. In fact, the Rupa, although they understand, they arise together, the arising of the Rupas becomes the cause of arising of the mind arising at the Chakku, at the eye base, at the eye base. So for instance, say if I'm looking at the television, and then there is the television screen, which is the object, and my eye, and my mind is totally eye sense base, and someone enters the room and calls me.
Okay.
So the sound, that is also material, the matter called sound hits my ear base, and the mind shifts from this eye base to the ear base, and it arises there. So it arose because of cause and effect. Because the sound hit the eardrum, the mind also arose there. So there is a little tiny step formation there because of, and they all rise together and hearing takes place together. And now your question was, where does the clinging start?
Yeah.
And here, when the hearing arise, there the passion and tanha and passion, delight and arise there. Tanha, greed and passion and delight to that hearing. And here, that is where the clinging arises, and that is like again thought moments apart.
Is it what you call the sota vijnana? That
The
arises?
sota vijnana is where the consciousness arising at the ear base is called sota vijnana. The vijnana arising at the eye base would be chakku vijnana. But that arising itself at the ear base and seeing happening is innocent enough. But as soon as the seeing happens at the contact level, of course the vedana comes, dukkha, nadukkama sukha, tanha, passion, delight arise there. And then tanha pacchaya upadana, upadana arises, the bhava arises, and that whole chitta-viti process happens. So in fact someone will ask, oh, well, how do we stop that? And the other alternative is to, before the tanha arises, if prajna arises there, knowing the reality as it is and what this is all about, and that will the tanha and clinging arise, and the prajna will take us towards realizing the true nature of things, phenomena, and towards cessation of suffering.
Okay.
So either there's a path towards suffering,
Right.
and there is the path towards cessation of suffering at that contact level.
Professor Ravi? Yes.
Yes, that is how clinging arise. Like any ayatana, 6 faculties, the chakkayatana, sotayatana, and so on, and viññāna to be there, there must be I and the object. Then there's another, first one, as she mentioned, it's we can say it's very innocent viññāna. But
Yeah, she called it innocent.
yes, not
Yeah.
like us, because we use that
Yeah.
information to process first, starting with when we, for example, when we are using our eye to see something, then that viññāna telling us a lie, even it is innocent, telling us, okay, your eye is here, the ajjatta, and the rupa to observe is there, bahidda. Right? Ajjatta rupa and bahidda rupa. So there's a kind of separation happening. So that itself creating causes for the next thought,
Yeah.
for our mano viññāna. Okay, go and recognize that, or use your one of senses to observe it. Right? So there arise causes unless your prajna is not there for the what is happening with your eye,
Okay.
because there we used to accept external rupa. That is the starting point. So in Pali there are 3 terms. I think she mentioned the English terms, passion and the deed and few things. That is abhinandati, abhivadati, ajjosaya tittati. So the abhinandati is kind of happy about that,
Okay.
accepting,
Rejoicing, sort
rejoicing, yeah.
of. Okay.
Then you can talk about it, abhivadati. Then the last one is ajjosaya tittati, is you are really accepting it is there. Yes, you believe something there to be recognized. So these 2 ends or extremes, ajjatta and bahidda. And there, if you very carefully observe, that is where this wrong belief starting, the avijja. because concept of I am this side, my eye, my ear and so on, senses, and the external Rupa relative to this so-called Salayatana. Right? So you are separating yourself from the external. So this is where, if you are deluded there with the avijja, there arises sakkaya ditthi.
Okay.
But this one has to observe very carefully.
Yeah.
Then that information we use for our mana, the manayatana. So that is where you create so many different thoughts and they become the karma or the sankhara, the chetana and so on. It is explained chitta viti, but I think that is not our scope here. But we are compacting this whole chitta viti into one chitta, one thought. Right? So there chakku vijnana and mano vijnana both are there. So mano vijnana side, if delusion or if our prajna is not there at the chakku vijnana level, we are continuing with what do you call javansi, the karma process, the creating sankharas, which may help us to in this sansari journey.
Yes. So, now that you mentioned, maybe not directly related to this topic, but I'll come back to that. Now that you mentioned the term sakkaya ditthi, there was a question from one of our viewers, what exactly sakkaya ditthi means, because when someone attains the first step of sainthood or sotapanna, it is said that he gets rid of sakkaya ditthi, vicikiccha, silabbata, paramasa. So what exactly did you mean by sakkaya ditthi? I am asking you just because you coined the term.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. One could argue it's a kind of personal belief, or simply it is mentioned in one of the suttas, the Chula Vedalla Sutta, the similar question asking, what is this sakkaya? Without the ditthi, of course. What is sakkaya? Then the answer given by the Dhamma Hadaya was Pañcakkhandhā.
Okay, sakkaya is Pañcakkhandhā. Okay.
So wrong view about those 5 aggregates is the sakkaya ditthi. So those helps you to have this personal belief.
Okay.
I am here, simply that concept. So that is where you relatively recognize, okay, external and internal, ajjatta bahidda.
Right. Okay, it doesn't mean complete eradication of the feeling of I and mind.
No. This
it is
not
just
there's another term called
Pañcakkhandhā.
Yes, there's another term called asmimana.
Okay.
Even you get rid of sakkaya ditthi. That is when you use your wisdom, you realize. But other times you are still in the same thing, your old habits.
Right.
So you will have the alim gatim, that is attachments and aversion.
Yeah, moving back to the Pañcakkhandhā, Dr. Shiruma.
Yes, that's right. Very, very well explained there.
Yeah.
The 5 aggregates, the Rupa, together as a collection, these feelings, this material like this body, and that is there and this is here, and the feelings and all the perceptions, all the mental formations, all the consciousness together, and you call itself there is a person in there, within that. And Nadi Sutra, Buddha explains that there are 20 ways that you can actually break that, because we are clinging to these 5 aggregates in 4 different ways for each. Yeah, like if we take this body, that there is this wrong view that there is an I within the body, and the body is within the I, and I is the body, and body is the I.
Okay.
4 different ways. Even the feeling that I am in the feeling, feeling is within me, and I am feeling, and feeling is I. Likewise, very subtly, we cling to aggregates in 20 different ways and create this view that there is a person inside there. So then we create there's a personality view. Here is a person called I, and that is this collection of 5 aggregates. So all our meditations, the Vipassana, the insightful meditations, is to separate the 5 aggregates, separate it and see the process that happens through that. A whole process happens, and process begins and a process finishes, and there is no connection between these processes. And seeing that one starts to change their view, attitude, their view that is there a person in there. So when you sakkaya ditthi, when you break that, it's only the view of a person in existence is what breaks. And this the mamatve, the mana, the mamatve is still there, as I see, till the arahat level. So that there is the the alima, gatima, all attachments and all that happens till up to the asmimana level. So this is a particular view that breaks. But when you break that view, even though people think it is a very simple thing of changing your view, I find that it is so profound state, because all your attachments and aversions and your attitude towards the life and all phenomena drastically change inside, and you're in the world, living the world with that change in then, so huge amount of suffering is not there. And Buddha had said in one sutra, by taking some sand onto the fingernail, is the sand more or the sand in the whole universe, and it's the suffering that's left is just like this sand on the fingertip. So that shows how profound this stage must be, even though it is only 3 fetters that get broken and certain amount of defilements that get eradicated, but that view change can be very profound. And then to achieve that, you should go, I feel the meditations should be to focus on each of these 5 aggregates and understand fully how it arises and passes. Mind accepts, how can there be a person there within that 5. So that obviously is the Satipatthana Buddha introduced and showed the whole way of how to do these meditations, to see through this illusion of an I.
Professor, now do you think without practicing the Satara Satipatthana or the meditation to analyze this process, can one analyze it without practicing, just by reading all the theory stuff that you find in the scriptures?
Well, thing is, there are 2 sides. One is, Buddha has clearly mentioned, this is Ekayana Vayamaggavi Bhikkhu, the Chattaro Satipatthana. Satara Satipatthana is the only way. Okay. So no one can argue against that.
Yeah.
But the problem is how practice Satara Satipatthana. Is it with, according to Buddha's teachings, that is it with Samma Ditthi? Right? So without proper Samma Ditthi also one can practice Satara Satipatthana. For example, you can, keep your attention or mindfulness to your body, right? Whatever activities you are doing, maybe walking or breathing, whatever different things, or the 32 parts of the body, and there are 14 different ways in Kayanupassana itself. One can practice even without having real Samadhi. That means not hearing Dhamma, the teachings. So there are 2 terms, I think Shiroma has mentioned that in another, using another 2 terms, but it is mentioned in, you have mentioned that I and the Rupa, one has to see the real nature. It is mentioned in the one place, Mahasalayatana Sutta. It says, Chakkum Bhikkave Jnanam Passang Yathabhutam. These are the 2 terms, Jnanam, Passang. And the Yathabhuta is the as it is, as the reality. But Jnanam means you have to get from outside here, right? maybe reading a book or hearing to a Dhamma sermon or somewhere, right? So when you hear only, then that is, but it's a knowledge from another person, your own, right? Then you have to think about it, argue, and then it becomes your own seeing. That is passato.
Okay.
Janato, passato, what? The yatabhuta, as it is. So
passato means something like reviewing, is it?
Yeah, it is something like, for example, when you hear these things, if you want to tell this to another person, you have to tell that Ravi told like this, right? That is kind of jhana.
Yeah.
It is not your own experience or knowledge, not your seeing, right? Probably you have read from somewhere and you can tell like that, right? Quote the book, right? So that is jhana. So one has to hear this Dhamma from somewhere, right? Without hearing, there's no way, unless for a Samma Sambuddha or the Pacceka Buddha to realize this. Then the second one is you have to, think about it properly. Use your own wisdom and probably argue with it and so on.
Yeah.
Then it will become your own knowledge.
Yeah.
Then next time you are telling someone else, you don't have to tell, I heard this thing from this monk or this person. You can directly explain, look, this is like this. Right? That is kind of passato.
Okay.
Right? But it is about yatabhuta. That is what Buddha has explained.
Yeah.
And this place, Chakkumbhikkhaya Sanyatabhuta, and the other persons has mentioned Chakkumbhikkhaya Ajanang Apassang Yatabhutam. That is normal worldly people. Ajanang Apassang, just the opposite of that.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Not here, not seen.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that person is collecting Skandhas again and again. It is mentioned as, I think, Pañcakkhandhā upachayang gacchati. I think means again and again. Pañcakkhandhā, 5 aggregates, you are generating more and more. Right? Upachayang gacchati.
Yeah,
that is sajana.
I think Dr. Shiroma wants to add something.
Yes, I was
She wanted to add something. Yes.
I was thinking, it came to my mind, it is like the Suttamaya Jnana and Chintamaya Jnana, Suttamaya Jnana, and also Buddha has
If
said...
we quickly explain in English Suttamaya
Yes,
Jnana.
Suttamaya is by listening.
Yeah.
And another place Buddha has said to break the Sakkaya Ditthi, Parato Parato Gosha is from outside, and Kalyanamitta Sevana and Parato Gosha are the main two criteria for the realization of the first stage of enlightenment. And here with Parato Gosha comes the Suttamaya Jnana, that is listening the knowledge. Then the Chintamaya Jnana, the analyzing and thinking about it. And then he also says the third one, Bhavanamaya Jnana. So that I understood as like, say if you have a little boy and the mother is saying, this is fire, now it will burn and it will be very harmful to you, it will be painful. Now the child is watching the fire, the 5-year-old. Then in the books, in the TV, in the media, in the encyclopedia, he reads about the fire and he talks about the fire. But he's still not 100. Well, he doesn't know, he thinks he knows all about the fire. But the day he puts his hand into the fire and then he gets burned, that day he knows exactly by experience what the fire is.
Fire is, yes.
Now if the mother comes and says, oh, the fire is very cold, this is not very hot, put your hand in there, he will never do it. He won't do it because he's, without a doubt, his Achala Shraddha has come through the experience. So likewise with the Dhamma, I find that even analyzing and thinking about it and radically analyzing, logically thinking about it, you can still have somebody else comes and gives another logic, another analytical explanation, and you find, oh, is that true or is this true? That can be true, this can be true. But the yogi who has meditatively experienced it, how exactly what happens when a feeling comes or what sees through the Rupa, or experiences what the external, what we take as external and internal Rupa, seeing through it, no one can come and shift that. Even if
Definitely.
your elders or anyone had come and say, no, this is not the case, the mind will not accept, because mind has seen through it. So that is, I find, very profound faith, and Achala Shraddha would arise through that, I thought.
Yes. Professor Ravi, is there anything you would like to?
Yes, the point I took was the Satipatthana and the knowledge or hearing of Dhamma. So these two things should come together, or one at a time and the other one. Without combination of these two, you can't enter the supramundane path. Of course, there's Arashtangika Marga worldly level as well, mundane level. That one you can practice, right? The Kayanupassana anyone can practice, and Chittanupassana also you can watch your mind and so on. The difference is one can do this without hearing Dhamma, right? You should not forget, there were so many persons practicing this even before Buddha's time, like Kalara, Kalama, Uddakaramputa and so on.
Okay.
They were practicing Anapanasati, right? And they have achieved all kind of worldly
jhana states.
Jhanas,
Yes.
up to 8 jhana, of course you can achieve, but not even the Sotapatti, not even enter to the Sotapatti Magga, that is Arya Magga. So that is where this supramundane samadhi. So one should have kind of idea about that. What is this? It may be a rough idea, of course you can't experience unless you go along the path, right? But you should have at least rough understanding what of this. That is also referring as Satya Jnana of these Four Noble Truths.
Okay. Well, Dr. Shiroma, I thought, like, coming back to now, let's say a being, if we call a being a Pañcakkhandhā, now if you consider a being, I think any person, if you consider a person, he or she puts more concentration on Rupa or the matter itself, when it is only 1/5 of himself. Do you agree? Because we always worry about our Rupa.
Yes, it's even though it's 1/5, this is what is so tangible and gross and right in front of our eyes. Forgetting supramundane or mundane levels, just taking an experience and seeing objects around there, like you say, even a person, or touching, feeling the gross, big, huge, hard, solid, and like, if I may say, it's in your face, is the Rupa. Skandha.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I find that even in the Satipatthana, Buddha has placed Kayanupassana first.
Yes.
And even in Anapanasati Sutra, Anapanasati meditation, he guides with the breath as the first step. In breath as long, in breath long, out breath as long, out breath. He took breath and the Rupa as his object
Is
of
it
meditation.
because something it's easy to grasp?
It's easy to tangible. It's easy to take and see. It's easy to take a flower and know about a botanist. You take a flower and look at its shape and size and color. It's easier than to see its little cells inside or petals inside. So you start with the flower, look at the petals, then look at the little renu and the veins and the cells and minute things, because the arupa element is not tangible. It's not you can't see it, grasp it as much as the rupa material element. So and also the material element, we, even though it is through the nama, the mind, we grasp and cling so deeply, and give them names, my mother, daughter, son, and grasp them. It happens through the mind, but that object is what that creates that illusion. So Kayanupassana helps to break that illusion. Some meditators think, like even thinking before the meditation, even thinking there's a cushion there, itself is avidya. There is no cushion there. So if you take that cushion as object of meditation, then that is your on the platform of ignorance to start with. But it must be true. You're in ignorance, but through that ignorance only you find the wisdom. It's with the fire, through the fire you understand what fire is. By getting burnt, you know what fire is. So it's something like that, I feel. So you take that tangible thing as you experience it, and then has introduced these Dhatu Manasikara meditations and break it into what are the causes of this material object, and then through the dhatus into even minute particles. And that also goes through the Sutameya, Chintamaya and the Bhavanamaya prajna. So the beauty of that, I find, is the Rupa, when you go through Bhavanamaya prajna and through the breath, through the body and outside, inside, this material all go into atomic vibration. As Professor Ravi said, then you see that there is no difference there. So your mind has to go through that experience of seeing it for yourself, because if one says, so there is nothing there, of course they see something there. But seeing through the meditation, that is also a rising passing phenomena, and the body is also an arising passing matter, atomic vibration. It becomes the same. And who divides it? That's bad, that's there, that's here. And that is ignorance that does that. You have to touch that through that deep, very deep Kayanupassana meditations on the Rupa. So Rupa, Kayanupassana is a very profound section, I find, to cut through this illusion, solidity, cut through that solidity of the world.
Professor Ravi, do you?
Yeah, this is a very deep topic, so
Yes.
there are so many things to talk about. One thing one should not forget, the result of Kayanupassana. So at the end of the verses relevant to Kayanupassana, it says the end result would be the nachakinchi loke upadhyati. It would be nothing. If we refer Kayanupassana, it was Rupa, because body itself is a Rupa and even outside Rupa. So here the final result would be there won't be anything for you to get hold on. Nachakinchi loke upadhyati. Loke referring to Kaya or the Rupa, right? Physical things, what we believe. But as Shiroma mentioned very correctly, one has to start with what is existing.
Definitely.
Because of course we can't go to a different world and practice this thing. You have to accept what we are accepting now. So we used to believe there's cushions and so on, whatever worldly things, right? That is where we are. Right? So you have to start with, that is where this Sammaditthi is clearly mentioned, iti rupam. You have to start with what is Rupa. So it could be your own body or one part of your body or even external Rupa. You can start with that, because that is where you are now. Then through meditation, when you develop your wisdom, you may get different prajna levels, which is different from you used to believe. So this is where, this is very important, Buddha has mentioned this. This is pubbhe ananusutesu dhammesu. You would realize. So if you are going to realize what we already know, so we don't have to do anything, right? So the wisdom level, you will see a a totally different world what we used to believe as worldly level. So for that you have to start with one Rupa which you believe as this is Rupa, right?
Sure.
So that is what you accept. Then we apply with the Samaditi. Okay, if this is Rupa, what is the cause for that? So one way of doing this, as Shiroma mentioned, the Dhatu, the four elements, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu level, right? Or you can go even to Suddha Ashtaka, in Varana, Gandha, Rasa, Rupa, right? Rasa, Oja, sorry.
Yeah.
The 8 elements, or even 4 elements would suffice. But I would say that is giving you only a worldly way of reducing your the so-called keles or defilements, attachments, aversion. If you are so angry, for example, you can practice this and get
Calm
rid of
down.
or calm down,
Yes.
suppress it for the time being. But you have to keep in mind this is not complete eradication, right? So this is preparation. It is also known as Purva Pratipada, for the Arya Magga, right? Because still you are in a worldly way. Even you say 4 elements, Mahadhatu, it's there. Who is observing this? Me, right?
Definitely.
My mind.
Yeah.
Right? And still this is known as Dvayata. In Dvaitanupassana there are many collection of such sutras. As long as you are separating this into 2 sides, you are in the delusion. That's done by the Vijnana. So Buddha has given simile Vijnana as the Mayakarya, Mayupamancha Vijnana.
Vijnana is a magician. Yes.
So we have to identify why.
Definitely. We'll have to identify why, I think, probably in the next program. Having called Vijnana a magician, I think right now what we can say is Aloko Udapadi, light has arisen by unraveling the Dhamma of preached by Lord Buddha. So I'm sure watching this discussion you would have had so many unanswered questions by just going through our discussion, listening to our discussion. So please write to us. Our address is producer Dhamma Hadaya, the Buddhist TV, Sri Sambodha Vihara, RG Sena Nayaka Mawata, Colombo 7. So thank you so much, viewers, for being with us, and we are extremely thankful to Professor Ravi Koggalage and Dr. Shiroma Bandara for being here and helping us understand and help and guiding us through this very deep subject of Dhamma. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching, and let us have yet another series of Dhamma discussions with these 2 resource personnel, so that we can talk further about this particular topic. So may the most noble triple gem bless you as always.